Hi there, and welcome to AI 101 for DPS Schools, part of the August 6th new fall 2024 training. To start off in our inclusive welcome, we're going to read a tweet by Matt Miller, somebody who we've been using as a guidepost for our integration of AI in education. And he starts off by saying, calculators, search engines, Google Translate, Wikipedia, PhotoMath, hashtag ChatGPT. They disrupt traditional teaching. We adapt. Education evolves forward. Blocking them isn't the answer, but making education more relevant is. So I want you to take some time, pause the video, and think about what technologies have you used throughout your educational timeline, from elementary school to secondary to college and beyond. So for today in this recorded session, my name is Kaylee Paraccia. I will be your digital facilitator of this session, and Luke Mund will be also helping out with the live session on August 6th. And we also will start off with a land acknowledgement, which says, recognizing DPS commitments to no justice, no peace. We, the DPS educational community, place our minds and bodies in this space while acknowledging Indigenous relatives who have lived in and cared for this ancient land from time immemorial. We acknowledge the close relationship that Arapaho, Cheyenne, Southern Ute, and Ute Mountain Ute, and natives of all other tribal nations continue to have with the waters, plants, and all moving things that call this land home. We pledge our respect for those enduring Indigenous connections to the place we now call Colorado. So, to continue our land acknowledgement, I'd like for you to take a moment to read an Indigenous AI protocol and perspective from a collective group of members of Indigenous tribes that came together in Hawaii in 2020 to talk about how do we tackle the age of AI while also honoring our Indigenous communities. So, for our session outcomes today, we're going to form a foundational understanding of AI, DPS instructional priorities, and how our AI policies fit into those. We'll also engage in some self reflection on the current state of AI, and then you'll also learn some basics of prompt engineering and navigating an approved DPS AI application. So our agenda, we did our inclusive welcome. We also did our land acknowledgement. We'll get started with talking about the rights, policies, and ethical considerations of AI, and get into a brief overview of it. We'll also talk about approved apps and their uses. We'll talk about how we recommend teachers and students to use AI. We'll have a quick introduction to Magic School, some quick prompt engineering basics, also ways to navigate conversations around plagiarism in the age of AI, and last, just a quick Google Forms survey at the end. So, getting into rights, policies, and ethical considerations, we've based a lot of our learning around the U.S. Department of Education's AI Bill of Rights. And within that Bill of Rights, there are 5 main pillars that we want to consider when using AI. First, we want to make sure we're using safe and effective systems. We want to make sure that the platforms that we are giving students access to protect their data privacy, and we know where their data is going. Which also brings it to the second pillar of data privacy. We want to make sure that we are not entering in our students' personal identifying information when we are using these chatbots, because again, we don't exactly know where this information goes. We also want to be aware of algorithmic discrimination protections, just having a critical lens, knowing that the algorithms and the data sets that move our AI, our artificial intelligence systems, those are rooted in bias, and we want to have a critical lens for the output when we are bringing that into the real world. Every time you use AI, there should also be a notice and an explanation, and there also should be a human alternative. So we should always be able to opt out and be aware of when AI is in use. And also, there's a big kind of fear that AI is going to replace teachers and replace students in their learning. But we have this adage from the US Department of Education called Always Center Educators, or ACE. And we truly believe that if we are continuing to rely on educators' expertise to do the teaching, to prepare and reflect on the learning and actually design the learning experiences, as long as the teacher is still at the core of all of these things, we can ensure that AI will not be replacing our teachers. And if you didn't know, DPS does have an AI policy for employees as a kind of starting place for how to address AI in the workplace. We are also currently working on a student facing policy, and that should be coming in the fall. And the AI policy is great. It tells us kind of basic parameters for how we can use AI, but these are considerations for when you actually do use AI to make sure that you're using it equitably and ethically in your classroom. And the first thing is always safeguard student data. And we'll repeat that a few times throughout this presentation. But please do not put in student names, birthdays, student ID numbers, any identifiers that might go into these database systems that will stay with them throughout the time. We also want to be aware of the biases that AI brings with it and have a critical lens for it. Please follow age restrictions. The two platforms that we recommend that we'll talk about shortly are for all K-12 users, but there are some AI platforms out there that are for 18 plus, and please just be aware that not all students can access AI platforms like Claude or Bard because they are for 18 plus. We know that the best way to mitigate harm for AI is being able to just build AI literacy. Kids are less likely to misuse AI, whether it's for plagiarism or for harm, if they are aware of the implications of all of these uses. Please report tools on ATM. That's just a simple process of having your principal fill out a form if you are using any AI tool in your classroom. And last, whatever output you gain from AI, please check it for reliability. So, what exactly is AI? AI is a way to create computer programs that perform tasks that typically require human intelligence. So, that is a big umbrella term. AI is kind of embodies all of these different things like natural language processing for translation or for summarization. We also have speech artificial intelligence that can go from speech to text and text to speech. There's artificial intelligence for robotics, image recognition. All of these different things are in artificial intelligence. And they're in your life already. So you use AI for online and in store shopping. We use it for warehouse fulfillment every time you place an Amazon order. Text to speech if you want to have something read aloud to you, or if you're driving and you want to send a text message and you do speech to text, that's all AI. And AI in education means personalized learning, quick differentiation in seconds, increased student persistence because they have a personalized tutor to answer their questions in the moment. Um, Again, those text to speech and language translation capabilities are phenomenal. And we have so many multilingual learners in DPS where AI can really leverage their assets in all classrooms. We want to be clear what AI is not. AI is not alive. It's not smarter than us. It says AI is not killer robots. That's debatable, but AI is not only for geniuses. Anybody can use AI. And AI in education is not going to replace teachers. It won't solve every problem. It's not just another subject for kids to learn, and it's not one more thing that educators need to know. It's going to be ubiquitous within your job, and we want to be able to see how we can best leverage that for your instruction. So again, we talked about how AI is already in your life. Your smartphone has it. We use it for security and surveillance. Your social media platforms curate your feeds based on your interests and your likes. Navigation, you're able to get from point A to point B because of artificial intelligence. Again, all these things are in our lives every day, but now we're just starting to use it in the educational sphere. So take a moment, pause the video, think about how are you currently using AI either professionally or personally. All right, so now let's take some time to actually dive into why we want to use AI in education. Well, first, it's amazing for content development and differentiation. If I know my kids are into the Denver Nuggets NBA season, I can differentiate 4 different reading levels based on their interests for the math skill that we are looking at for the day. It can also help with assessments and give feedback on those assessments in a timely manner. Gives kiddos personalized learning assistance. It also helps with creativity and collaboration in the brainstorming process, and also just really helps with task efficiency. We want to also think about the risks, though, in education. We know that misinformation and hallucinations, or when AI just spits out random garbage, that is a potential harm. And that's why we need AI literacy to have a critical lens to look at the outputs of our AI to make sure that what we bring into the real world is representative of, of what we actually want to get out of it. Um, AI could actually get rid of the accountability of students in school if we aren't allowing them to build their skills with it and use it properly. Um, AI can really be a risk for student data privacy, again, if we don't know those safeguards to keep in mind. Kiddos might over rely on AI if we're not engaging them in the metacognitive reflection process every time they use the tool. And also, there's societal bias in our AIs. We know that, and we need to be able to teach kids how to have a critical lens to examine those biases as well. And so when I use this term AI literacy, we're talking about the knowledge, skills, and attitudes associated with how AI works. So, including its principles, concepts, applications, and how it's going to be used in the classroom, its limitations, implications, ethical considerations. So, really, when we talk about AI literacy, we want to make sure that students know and understand AI, they know how to use and apply it, they're aware of the ethical implications, and also at some point, we want them to be able to evaluate and create their own AIs. Because when you think about it, the timeline of a DPS student, a kiddo entering in kindergarten in 2024, is going to graduate in 2036 and they'll retire in 2085. We don't know what the world is going to look like. And when you think about the timeline of technology since the year 2000 and how much it's evolved, we can't we can't prevent our students from accessing a tool that might help them grow for the rest of their lives. And so, two tools that we recommend. One is Magic School. So, Magic School offers a lot of tools specifically built for educators by educators to streamline your workflow, to enhance your instruction, and also offer a safe space for students to build their AI literacy while engaging in classroom learning experiences. So, Magic School is great for differentiation, for translation, to create quick and fun checks for understanding, to brainstorm ideas for collaborative learning structures. It's great to analyze your data sets and plan next steps based on the data that you've analyzed. Great for communication support, even if you want to whip up a quick email to families, and also amazing inclusive SEL pathways. If you're really stuck on having restorative conversations with a classroom or a specific kiddo, this is a great platform to help you brainstorm some pathways for conversations. And next, Canva is the other tool that we support. Canva Magic Studio provides AI tools for designing visual content, translation, text and image editing, and style transformation. So, Canva is free for staff and students, so what you have access to, the students do as well. Canva is amazing to create professional graphics, enhance your image. You can use a text to image AI tool in Canva. You can design collaboration in templates already. Kids can join in on the same template and design in it. Whatever you create in Canva can be translated into many languages, and AI can also just inspire a lot of different layouts and formats for a presentation for kiddos if they're having trouble getting started. We also allow other tools in DPS, but we just don't support them, meaning we don't offer trainings or specific staff resources. But we can use these other tools in DPS because they do not require personal identifying information. So, we are about to get into our first tool, Magic School. And before you even start using the platform, I really appreciate the pop up that they have to almost warn their users of how to effectively, ethically, equitably use this tool in their instruction. And it has 5 great bullet points to consider. And it tells you to check for bias and accuracy. We've already talked about that. Use the 80-20 approach. So, just making sure that you're putting the finishing touches on whatever AI content is generated. You should be having those like expert lenses before bringing that content into the real world. because your judgment matters, as the third bullet point says, and know the limits of Magic School and any other AI bot. You won't be getting up to date current event analysis because we know that the chatbots are operating on limited data sets. So we need to make sure that we know the limits of the chatbots that we're using. And please make sure that you're protecting your privacy again. Do not enter student details like names, addresses, birthdays, student IDs. Please protect their data privacy. So, an introduction to Magic School, if you've never logged in before, go to magicschool.ai and you will use sign in with Google, meaning your DPS.K12 login. Once you get into Magic School, it's super overwhelming, but we'll take it kind of bit by bit on this slide. So, on the left hand side, you can see a toolbar. And then in the middle, you'll see a bunch of different tools that you can click through. So we recommend just pausing the video, take about 5 minutes to scroll through the different tools that are available in Magic School. Also, take some time to click Raina, the chatbot, and engage in a conversation with your AI tool. We're going to be using Raina when we talk about prompt engineering shortly. So, if you've started using Raina and you've heard the term prompt engineering refers to being able to use artificial intelligence by structuring your text input so your AI model understands it. And when we do a simple Google search, we were taught to do very limited terms because the more we put in there, the more random things you'll get. But with an AI chatbot, the more content we put into our prompt, the better, more nuanced response we'll get back from our chatbot. So we recommend giving it context. Tell them what grade level you are a teacher of. Give it a task. Do you want it to create a project? Do you want it to create a quiz? Do you want it to create a lesson plan? Have instructions. Maybe say, I want it to be aligned to a certain standard or objective from your curriculum. And then constantly clarify and refine. If you're not getting the output you want from your chatbot, go ahead and reprompt the chatbot and say, hey, can you consider this? Or I didn't see you mention that. Go back and have it recreate based on a new prompt that you have. So, tips for prompt generation, please always ground whatever content you're making for your class in curriculum. We don't need to create new lesson plans with our chatbots, but what we can do is take curriculum DPS lesson plans and enhance them with our chatbot. Use action verbs to specify the task. Be very specific, include what you do and don't want. So maybe you're having AI generate a lesson plan for the day and you do want collaborative opportunities, but you don't want partner work. You can include that in your prompt. Provide context and audience. I always like to say, like, I am an anti-racist, anti-biased 8th grade social studies teacher with 60% multilingual learners that are at access level 2 and 3. Really just giving an idea of who the learners are for the content that I'm creating. Specify the output. You can ask for a poem. You could ask for a chart or a table or bullet points. Just specify how you want the text to look. Give AI a role. It could pretend to be a detective, or it could pretend to be a medical professional or a historical character, even. AI can pretend to be a person if you want it to be. Give AI examples, and then also, again, constantly refine and repeat. Edit your prompt if you're not getting what you want out of your AI chatbot. So, some examples of quality prompts. A very beginner prompt is, who's president? Okay, well, a better prompt would be, who's the president of Mexico in 2021 and how frequently are elections held? Because the question, who's president, can yield any type of answer. But the more details we put in, the better. So take some time, use these tips for prompt generation, use Raina in Magic School, and just play around with some prompt engineering. After you've played around with some prompts using Magic School, you might be wondering, like, why might I use this as a teacher or a student or a leader? So first, we recommend educators using AI for 4 main buckets. One is to enhance engagement. So you can really think about how to support all learners in your classroom by enhancing the engagement in your lesson plans. You can use it to efficiently execute tasks, whether it's drafting emails, creating quick quizzes, or fun games that can create it in seconds. It can also help you increase inclusion. Maybe there are some areas that you are not aware that you are not yet hitting in your instruction, and it can increase inclusion by giving you feedback on your lesson planning. And last, professionally prosper. It's just great to be able to get feedback on your own teaching, engage in live coaching if you're stuck on how to take a lesson plan to the next level. AI can really be a great tutor for that. And if you're wondering how can you use AI with students, there are so many different opportunities to streamline their studying, to help figure out creative collaborative structures that they can engage with not only each other but technology in, help them engage in self directed discovery, and also personalized progress, having them set their own goals, track their own progress, come up with their own next steps based on their own interests. So take a moment based on slides 29 and 30 and take a look at a few indicators that might be relevant for your instruction and how we can use AI for educators and students. So now that you're thinking about how you can use AI either as yourself as a teacher or with your students, you're going to have a lot of conversations to navigate with students, families, and colleagues around plagiarism and safety using AI. So one thing that we like to use to expand awareness around how AI is used to support student learning is just by asking a few simple questions like, do you consider it cheating if a kiddo went to a tutor for support? Do you consider it cheating if a kiddo brainstormed project ideas with a friend or used uh, at English materials in their first language or worked with a family member using spelling or grammar check or just looking at exemplars from a teacher? None of these are considered cheating in the classroom, so why would we consider it cheating if a student used AI to do any of these things? And so we talk about the concept of plagiarism almost as a spectrum now. It's not a binary of yes or no, did you cheat or did you not cheat, but it's more of a spectrum to what extent did you use technology to support your final product of your learning. And I think this is a nice chart to show students even to navigate them in the conversation. If you think an essay was submitted solely written by an AI bot, then talk to them about how much did you use AI to support your writing process? What does it look like to have more original content and move down the spectrum of a bot created product to more student centered products? We also talk about the best prevention of having an AI created plagiarized essay is just having process based learning in your classroom, having frequent checks for understanding, opportunities for feedback, really monitoring and knowing the work of your students before that essay is going to be due. So it's not a surprise to either yourself or the student when an AI bot is being used for plagiarism. We also want to just talk about real quick how AI detectors are pretty problematic. We know, again, that an AI detector has a lot of false flags, especially for our culturally and linguistically diverse learners. And then we also know that the best way to detect an AI generated text is knowing your student, knowing your student's voice, knowing their reading and writing ability, so that what you see on the paper is reflective of who they are as a student. Intentional code. I just want you to think about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that come with AI. And if you have any questions or concerns about AI, if you have any more resources, we have a slide with a bunch of links for you to explore. And we always love chatting further about anything AI. So please don't hesitate to reach out to the EdTech team or your digital coach if you would like more training in your schools. Have a great day. Thank you so much.